Right, hello everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Create With podcast. So you're probably wondering what that is. It's the new name for the NoCode SaaS Podcast. So we're going to get into all the big news about that in this episode. But yeah, today it's here with me, James. We've got Kieran as well.
Hello.
And Ash.
Hey everyone.
Hey, so yeah, great to have everyone here. So yeah, this has been quite a big week for us because you might have seen some of the announcements about all the big changes we've been making and the kind of the big plans that we've had. So yeah, this episode is going to be a little bit about talking about why we've made all these changes, what to expect, and what's coming up in the new year as well. So I don't know, Kieran, do you want to kind of kick us off with maybe a bit of background to why we decided to change the name and what this is actually going to mean, because it's kind of consolidating a few things into one that we've been working on for a while, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were. I think we wanted to change the name of NoCode UK just because I think we, over the past few months, definitely there's been a lot of changes in the way apps are being developed, and certainly with the cursor AI, which we discussed, I think, in the last episode, now it's looking likely that in the future you'll be able to generate apps just from a text prompt. So it doesn't quite seem right to use the term no code to describe something that is clearly going to have code. I think the reason we're doing this, the thing we're excited about, is the fact that people don't have to be necessarily technical. They don't have to have a coding background to build software. That's the reason that I'm excited about this, and I know you guys are the same. So I think limiting the way we describe it to a particular term, which implies there's absence of code. Obviously everyone knows, and people are quick to point out, that there is always code in the background even when you're using no code tools. But yeah, that term I think is just a bit limiting, when it could be that in the future we're not actually dragging and dropping stuff. We're just telling an AI to build stuff. We've got a team of AI developers and we're like the product manager. So we wanted a term to reflect that, and also obviously the first conference was a massive success in the UK, and it did make us think maybe we can in the future expand to international locations, or just have chapters abroad that will organize things, and so it seemed a bit limiting to have the UK on there. So we wanted something that was just a bit more inclusive, and yeah, after a lot of back and forth and various ideas being thrown around, we settled on Create With, which I guess, Ash, you're probably the best person to explain the thinking behind the new name, as I think you're the one who came up with it. But yeah, we all really love it. It's just is very inclusive, I think.
Yeah, great overview, Kieran, because you encapsulate so much of everything from the initial NoCode UK conference, and obviously how you both have been running the podcast. Really been driven by the enthusiasm, the curiosity, the creativity of everyone kind of building whatever kind of tool they're using. And like you mentioned, it's just really focusing on, actually even just celebrating what people can use to create anything from a little widget, a Chrome extension, all the way up to like a full-fledged SaaS app. And really also focusing on something I think we've all realized too, with this whole power of the no-code community, and that really, again, we're all having our modes where we're heads down in a coffee shop building something, or in our home office or something like that. But it's really this whole power of creating with other builders, other makers, other founders. They're giving you idea inspiration. Maybe you're co-collaborating on something, you're sharing resources or tips, or you're following somebody else's tutorial. Again, I know myself, I've massively benefited from the generosity of the no-code community, and always grateful for that. So I think we all thought that the new term Create With really focuses on that collaboration aspect, and really just kind of the sharing and celebration of ideas and building out ideas. And again, making that the primary focus of the whole new brand. And again, like you both mentioned, encapsulating all these components, a live conference, a podcast, and a couple other new things, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit.
100%. Yeah, there are a couple of strands to it, aren't there? So obviously we had the NoCode SaaS podcast, which was the old name for this. And again, maybe I think in the future on the podcast we are going to still cover all the updates on our projects, but we're probably not going to exclusively focus on SaaS. We are going to look more generally at kind of AI tools and what is available out there to build cool stuff with, basically. Because if you're following it on Twitter at all, you can see this is changing every week. It's an unbelievably fast moving kind of space, so there's a lot there, but we want to kind of cover it in a kind of a human, down to earth way, in an honest way as well, because I think a lot of this stuff can be overhyped and maybe not live up to some of the hype, but we're going to kind of we're going to try stuff, give our honest opinions, and try and help you as much as we can. Really, that is the ultimate goal with this whole thing, is to get more people creating things. Like so I think for all of us, getting into the no-code community was kind of life-changing. You know, it helped us, you know, not only build products that I never thought I'd be able to do, but also make tons of friends as well. Like everyone says, like the no-code and this whole no-code kind of community is just so friendly. Everyone is out there to help each other, and that's really just what we're trying to do with this, is just help more people. And I think it just did make sense to try and consolidate everything we're doing into this one thing. But just even from just a management perspective, like having to post stuff on 3 different Twitter accounts for all the different things we were doing was a lot of work. So we hope that bringing it all under this one umbrella is going to help quite a bit. And there was a bit of an announcement. If you were subscribed to our kind of newsletter, or you were subscribed to NoCode UK, you will have got the kind of the big announcement with all the plan in it, basically. But if you haven't subscribed yet, you can get it at createwith.com. That's going to be like a weekly update, basically, where we're going to feature our top AI kind of interesting links of the week, tutorials, and any kind of videos, podcast updates from us. But it's going to be a very short kind of like, this is what you need to know this week in that's happening. So we're trying to keep it as concise as we can. But yeah, Kieran, do you want to talk a little bit more about maybe what people can expect from the podcast in general? Because I know you've also got some updates this week about your new SaaS challenge that you're working on, and we're still going to be covering that kind of thing in future, aren't we?
Yeah, I would really like to continue with our building public updates, because I think there's loads and loads of places you can get regular AI news. If you want to be like hearing Microsoft has just released a new model, Google's just released a new model, if you want to hear about that stuff, there's loads of places to get that. So I don't think we're going to be covering that, because personally, well, I don't find it that interesting, and I find it quite overwhelming because it is moving so fast. The stuff I really like to hear about is what people are using it for. So if there is a new model, like I love it when you, James, will say, oh, I just tried out the new model or this new tool, and it's really cool, and I did this with it. I like to hear like it being applied and actually used, and then you give us some like color to it when you say, oh, parts of it are not very good, or like it's quite expensive, things like that. So I hope we can cover AI from a kind of user's perspective, and a bit more of a thoughtful, slower perspective. Like, maybe we're still using a model from a year ago, but we found some new things we can do with it with a certain no-code tool. So I would like to keep doing that. If you've been listening to this for a while, you'll know that I haven't had, it's been 9 months since I sold Yep.so, which was my last SaaS, and I said at the beginning of this year I'm going to launch loads more projects, and I haven't launched anything, and I realized it's just because I have been feeling quite overwhelmed with like the amount of AI stuff that's coming out, and watching all these other people jump on it, and just too many ideas and too little time, it seems. So I've set myself a little challenge. Over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to settle on an idea, and I'm actually going to build it, launch it, and try and get at least, I've said 3 paying customers. That might be too many, maybe 1 paying customer. But yeah, I'm going to see how it goes. I've got a couple of other people who have emailed me to say they'd like to join the challenge, so we're going to make a little WhatsApp group and kind of build along together and keep each other motivated. But yeah, that should be fun. So hopefully I will start having a few more interesting updates, but failing that, we've always got your updates, James, which I enjoy hearing.
Yes, yeah, I'm excited to follow along with that challenge, because I think we can all kind of relate, especially with at the moment with AI. It can be just hard to know, how do you apply some of this stuff into a useful product, and what should I build, and I think that's what we've all struggled with. So I'm going to be really interested to follow along with you, kind of going on that journey on this fresh project. But yeah, things have changed a lot since even you started. Things have moved, so it's going to be interesting kind of exploring how to make all this stuff work. But yeah, I completely agree. I've seen some people building amazing stuff with no code and AI on Twitter, so it's going to be really interesting to follow a brand new project along. One of the other things that we've been working on, and was in our big announcement email, was the date for the conference next year. So obviously NoCode UK happened last year. We kind of put it together in a bit of a rush. If you can remember, we kind of we met Ash at NoCode Summit in Paris, and it was kind of on the train back that the whole idea for the UK conference happened. So it was all a bit of a whirlwind. This year I guess we've got a bit of extra time to plan it, which is awesome, and we got a ton of feedback from everyone from last year. So I don't know, Ash, if you want to kind of talk us a little bit about the very early stages of planning for next year, and what people can maybe expect, because we do actually have early bird tickets out now, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you've covered a lot of good stuff there. So the first key point I wanted to mention is that, again, we got some overwhelmingly good feedback. Really, the whole ethos of the last conference that, again, as you mentioned on the train, this idea of like, hey, what if we had a conference that was by makers, for makers, like everyone on the stage is somebody who's created an app or service themselves. They get to share their firsthand kind of journey. And, we kind of tested that whole idea out, and we're curious on the response, and everyone overwhelmingly really appreciated that. Every speaker that was on stage, they could approach, how did you build this? I really appreciate you sharing your journey, the ups and downs of everything like that too. So really the main headline there is that we want to do that again, have that same type of open ethos that's really accessible to everyone. If anybody who wants to build an idea or is curious about that space, so bringing that back for next year, but also, like you said, really massively appreciate the feedback from everyone who attended. Again, it's impossible to get things perfect the very first time. Everyone knows this when shipping their first iteration. So all that feedback that we've gone through as a team, looked at that, and like you mentioned, James, we've got time to start to incorporate some of those things so that it's a bit bigger of an event next year. Probably have a few more speakers, a few little extra surprises. But yes, the date is set for May 22nd in London. And yeah, we're looking at welcoming people because, as we mentioned earlier this week, the super early bird tickets are on sale now, an incredible deal for only 49 quid to start with. And anyone can pick those up right now, so you can reserve your spot and a ticket for next year's conference.
Yeah, it's really, really exciting. Because last year was just so much fun, and it was so great to meet so many great people. And yeah, we're going to do our best to make next year even better. So yeah, check out the website if you are interested in those super early bird tickets, because it is a really great deal at the moment. So yeah, it's at createwith.com. If you're interested in that, you can either just sign up for the newsletter, or you can get the tickets directly on there. So yeah, really, really exciting. One of the other strands, I guess, that we haven't covered so far is the kind of the tutorial side that we really want to do as well with Create With. So one, I think as we've all been saying, like one of the hardest things when you're getting started with all of this is knowing where to start, what tools to use, how to do things, how to use a certain API, or, depending on what level you're at, there's all those different journeys. So that's definitely something that we wanted to help out with. Kieran, did you want to maybe kind of talk a little bit about, because I know you've been so big on tutorials and courses, you really are expert in that area. So it'd be great to chat a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone everyone loves learning stuff, and so many people are just struggling to figure out how they can use like these amazing tools that they keep hearing about. Like, unless you understand what the tools can do, and then understand like how you can integrate them in your day-to-day life, whether it's like your leisure time or for your job or for your business, like they're not very useful. So I think it would be fantastic to have like a load of tutorials that teach everything from the beginner stuff, like what is this chat GPT that everyone's talking about, and how do you use it, and like, do I have to pay for it? What can I actually do? Can I have some real examples of how people use it? Because otherwise, I remember for the first like 3 months I was using it, I was just getting it to write silly poems for my friends about stuff. Like I didn't even realize all the stuff I could use it for. So I think, creating kind of a library of those kind of things. And then obviously we will go into more complex things. Obviously a friend of mine said, oh, should I come to the conference? I'm interested in like learning how to use AI for my job or whatever. And I said, yes, but it's not so much about learning to use the existing AI tools. It's more about building tools that leverage AI in the background to make the tools more exciting. So it's a bit like the next level up. Like, I feel like there probably would be some kind of conference for people that just want to learn how to like ask chat GPT stuff. But it's kind of more about like, how can I integrate OpenAI's APIs into an app to automate something. So that's kind of the level that I think we're going to be doing them at. But yeah, I think there's a huge amount of demand for it. We had a really good session yesterday as part of the Leeds Digital Festival. And yeah, James and Laura gave talks on how they're using AI in their apps, and how to build like kind of AI wrappers and things like that. And everyone that attended seemed really excited about it. And I think they're probably at that level where they're just like, okay, I know about AI. I've used ChatGPT, but I want to know like, what else can I do with it, and how can I go that one step further? So just based on the feedback from that, it seems like there is big demand for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And that was a fantastic job by Ash putting that event together, which is going to probably be out on YouTube by the time you're watching this. So it was a great kind of interactive type session. And Ash, I think that's something we'd like to do more of, isn't it? Because it was. I think there was a striking poll when we did that event at the beginning and at the end. So maybe you could tell people a little bit about that, because I thought that was quite a good sign for what we were trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just give a shout out to the Leeds Digital Festival, because that's when I first moved to the UK. I attended that festival and just found everyone, at least in that tech space, just really welcoming, really encouraging for people to transition to tech and learn so much. And there's obviously like hundreds of events that week, and various other cities across the UK have kind of tech events. So even just on the ground for people to meet in the tech space, I just encourage folks just to get out there, have these conversations. Obviously, we hosted a virtual one, so it was accessible. We could have people from all around the UK, or representation from all around the UK, join the call and be able to share their expertise, like yourself and Laura. But yeah, really our aim there was to have a session that was very educational and informative. The whole kind of theme was around folks who have a startup idea and how they kind of unlock it with AI and no-code tools, especially if they're not sure on technical coding, or they don't have a computer science background. So really, we kind of pulled everyone who joined the call at the start and kind of asked them, what's their relative approximation of their knowledge with AI and no-code tools, and how they felt confident about getting started in their idea. And it was amazing to see the shift from the start and the end after you and Laura presented, in terms of just how they felt more confident on what tools they can get started with, concrete, actionable steps, and not only picking a tool, but knowing to talk to customers, ways to validate their idea, communities to find. So yeah, we shared a number of resources through the call as well too, everything from tools, kind of like different landscapes they can join, and again, even upcoming in-person events as well too, if folks are interested in NoCode and AI. So yeah, it again got great responses from everyone who attended, and looking to do more of those. And like Kieran just mentioned, these kind of sessions maybe a bit more beginner friendly, kind of get everyone on the foundational level and stage, so that when the Create With conference comes around, everyone's kind of hopefully experimented, built a few things, and then we can kind of do those deep dives with experts at that conference that are more around like integrating AI into your current application, or like scaling your business, marketing your business, kind of taking it to the next level.
100%. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is basically make a platform for some of the best like no code and AI creators, whether it's on our YouTube channel, through live webinars, or speaking at live events. That's definitely what we're going to try and do. So there will be more info coming out soon if you do want to get involved, because we would love to get as many people from the community involved as we can to, do content and videos and stuff. So it's not just us all the time. So we'd love to kind of share, some of the best people who are doing stuff. So that's really exciting. The other big thing is the YouTube channel. So we're going to be investing a lot more in that. But at the moment, if you head over on YouTube and look for Create With, you'll find all of the great talks from last year's conference. But we're also aiming to do at least one kind of interview a month with a maker. So that's going to be really exciting. And we're going to have a couple of kind of special podcast episodes. So we're going to be doing a special at NoCode Summit in Paris, and we're going to hopefully have some special guests on that as well. And we're also going to do a special one in New York from BubbleCon, so kind of giving you a behind the scenes look at everything that's happening over there as well. So all these kind of the big NoCode and AI events, we're going to try and be as many as we can and make interesting kind of content that just shows you what's happening, and hopefully get as many of you involved with it as we can. But yeah, I think we kind of wanted this episode to be a bit of an intro to the whole new kind of Create With phase, I guess, after NoCode UK and NoCode SaaS. This is kind of the bookend to the new start, and that's kind of a bit of an overview. But I think the best way of keeping up to date with everything is through the newsletter at createwith.com. So that's completely free, and you'll just be up to date with everything. Or of course you can find us on Twitter, X at CreateWithHQ. But yeah, I think that's it for this week, unless there's any other updates, Kieran or Ash, you wanted to share.
No, all good.
No, just the main one, like you mentioned, where to find us. Again, we're also on LinkedIn as well too, if folks are primarily on that platform, also at CreateWithHQ, if they want to find us. And yeah, look forward to connecting soon.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. And we're excited to do this next phase with you, and see you in the next episode. So thanks very much. We'll see you soon.